So one of the biggest trends that I've seen on YouTube fitness react videos, other than what the hell Connor Murphy is eating these days. Jesus Christ, what a degenerate. Yeah, anyway, right, is Dr. Joel Seedman. And for those of you who haven't seen him, he is a trainer who's always posting videos of himself and his clients using very unique exercises, like really unique. Like I've never seen them before, you've never seen them before. I'm pretty sure he came up with all of them on his own. Extremely unique stuff. This has been going around the YouTube community, usually getting almost a universally negative reaction. I thought I would be in a pretty unique position to provide a little bit of perspective on this, because I'm somebody that loves doing unique stuff. I look at Russian Instagram and just try whatever I see the crazy Russian dudes doing, who are not crazy. They're obviously extremely strong and well developed, and what they're doing is working, and I like it. So not crazy, but I mean, you understand why I use the word. Anyway, so I like doing new and old stuff that's unique, that you don't see. I like pushing things, seeing where they go, experimenting with new things, always trying to find better ways to lift and develop and just have fun. So I think I have a little bit better of a perspective than a lot of these people who tend to look at new things and just assume it's bad. Oh, if I haven't seen this exercise before, it means you're going to get injured. What muscle does that train? There are a lot of people that are extremely conservative and extremely risk averse and just very stuck in their ways and suspicious of anything they haven't seen before in fitness. And I'm not coming from that perspective, so I think I can offer a little bit better perspective on Dr. Joel Seedman, since I have some commonalities with him. As kind of a disclaimer before I really get into the nuts and bolts of this, the make or break of his training really is going to be found in how he utilizes a lot of these exercises. I could see somebody definitely getting good results with some of this stuff if it's being used properly, or I could see it being kind of useless if it isn't. And as far as I can tell, I've looked at his Instagram, I've looked at his YouTube. I can't really see a master plan for how all this stuff gets programmed, how it all gets used. It may be out there, and if I haven't found it, that my bad. But I think most of it's behind the paywall, and I'm definitely not going to pay $200 just to do this video. So I'm definitely operating from a position of ignorance to a certain degree, because I can't tell you how he's using this stuff. I think a lot of his critics are operating from an even greater position of ignorance, since they don't even have a whole lot of experience with actually trying new things, experimenting. But the make or break is going to be in how he's using this stuff ultimately. And I mean, I understand why he keeps his programming behind the paywall. Obviously, he's making a living, but it comes with the territory. If you're not putting that out there, then people are gonna just have to try to judge, without that information. And if they make some wrong assumptions, so be it. Okay, let's get into the good. So the biggest good thing about Joel Seedman, as I kind of alluded to earlier, is he's not afraid to experiment. He's not afraid to try new things, grow, expand his horizons. Obviously, he's out there experimenting, and just by that alone, I would send prospective clients to him over a lot of people, because far too many people are afraid to try anything different, and so they keep staying exactly where they are, beating their head against the wall. And he's at least if someone's struggling with something that's not working, getting frustrated, at least I'm sure he'll help them find a way around it, something new, something that will work. And on that note, he shows a lot of videos of his clients. Some of them I believe are pro athletes. A lot of them look to be very fit, very capable. He himself appears to be very fit and capable. So it would seem to be working. Now, to really judge that, again, I need more information. We need to see how Athlete X progresses over a period of months or years from where Seedman got him to where he left him. And that I don't think we see a whole lot of. We don't see the same athlete progressing over time from him. So we don't know if this person already came to him, very strong, mobile, capable, and left the same way, or if there was improvement. But, at least all his athletes appear to be, strong and healthy. So he can't be doing anything that wrong. And I'm not really worried about the injury risk from what I see. He doesn't seem to be having his people, do anything that appears to be too much of a strain for them, too difficult. Not that I'm saying they're not hard, but I don't see anyone just, really straining too hard to do any of this stuff. So it doesn't look like any of them are really setting themselves up for injury at all. And honestly, he has so many exercises on his channel, on his Instagram. I mean, I think anybody that just scrolls through his Instagram feed long enough will probably find something that might be a benefit to them. Maybe not everything, maybe not most things, but you'll probably find, there's a good chance you'll find like one thing that could help you out that, seems to be a unique exercise that could let you train something that you're trying to train but having problems with, maybe train around pre-existing issues or hit something in a different way. There's going to be some value there when you're adding that many tools to your toolbox. The difficulty with that is just, separating what's going to be useful to you from the many that, may not be useful to you. And there again, how he's programming these people, really comes into play. Are we just throwing the whole tool bag at someone? Yes, I mean, how is he using these? Is he throwing the whole toolbox at people, or is he, intelligently using the right tool for the right job, and he knows exactly what exercise will slot into the right role? That's again something I don't know, and that could, easily make the difference between how useful these exercises are, how useful they aren't. So, yeah, as far as positives, definitely someone that's willing to experiment, think outside the box, try new things, seems to be working, and I think everyone could probably find something useful there. Onto the criticisms. I mean, my biggest criticism would seem to be that, at least from my perspective, as somebody that's deeply immersed in the old time strongman stuff, the traditions of lifting, it really seems like he's reinventing the wheel to a large degree when he doesn't have to. Now, I haven't really seen on his page any of the old-time strongman lifts that I'm familiar with. I haven't seen anyone do, for example, two hands anyhows. I haven't seen anyone do Turkish get-ups. I haven't seen anyone do, one-hand Olympic lifts. He's got a lot of stuff posted, so if I'm missing something, that's my bad. And Joel, if you end up watching this, please correct me if I'm wrong. If you use all this stuff, that would completely negate this criticism. To know that you've tried it and maybe found that your methods work better. But it kind of seems like he's just ignored all those things, which would seem to be doing a lot of the same stuff that he's trying to do, like really work on balance, coordination, doing two things at the same time. One thing that I saw him having an athlete do was do basically a suitcase deadlift while doing a bottoms up kettlebell hold at the same time. And that's cool. I can see some benefit in that. But have you ever heard of a double windmill? This is something that people have been doing for a long time that requires you to do a very similar thing. You're holding one thing overhead, while deadlifting. And you can use a lot more weight and probably get more benefit that way. A lot of his stuff involves, using multiple implements, but I've never seen him have anyone actually do a proper two hands anyhow, which I think would be a lot more beneficial, because you can I haven't tried a lot of his stuff, but I know with the two hands anyhow, you have the potential to really work up with progressive resistance and use increasingly more weight and actually develop that way. And I don't know to what extent that really works with some of the stuff he's doing. Haven't tried it, but I know it just seems like he bypassed a lot of things that already existed, that had kind of a proven track record to make people incredibly strong, and you just kind of bypass that to reinvent the wheel and come up with this other stuff that may work, may not, but it didn't seem necessary. I guess one of the possible reasons for that is maybe he's trying to train people that perhaps wouldn't want to go through all the technical skill learning of mastering old time lifts. But I mean, just on face looking at it, some of the stuff looks like there'd be a pretty good little learning curve to it too. So it doesn't seem like something you could just sit down a novice and just have them doing this perfectly, without any effort either. So I don't know if that makes sense as a reason for why you would bypass this stuff. A lot of it seems very equipment dependent, which is really odd when you're trying to incorporate so much stabilization and mobility and odd positioning into your training. Why would you need to use a bunch of equipment? Because just using very simple equipment, with some of the older methods, just taking a bar off the ground, and lifting it overhead, or squatting with it, what have you, would seem to accomplish a lot of those goals without any demand for equipment. There's one video of him doing one-arm zerchers on a Smith machine. It's like, my dude, come on, like, you don't need a Smith machine to do one-arm zerchers. Like, I'm out there doing over 300 one-arm, on a barbell, and guess what? It's twisting around. I've got to stabilize it. Like, every single training goal that you seem to be trying to get after would be better served by just using a basic barbell and just doing a one-arm zercher off the ground. Obviously, if you need to lower the weight to make sure that you're safe and not at risk of injuring something, I mean, barbells come in 45 pounds to start. You can even get them lighter. You can go as light as you need to avoid injury, but why not just use the barbell for some of this stuff? I mean, I guess I'm being a little bit of a cynic, but it makes me almost wonder, is he just coming up with all this new stuff because it can be somewhat proprietary to him? It's his own invention. I mean, you can't trademark, or I mean, I don't think he has done this, but you can't claim, I guess, the old time strongman lifts as your own thing, because they're not yours. People have been doing them. You can't claim you invented it. So maybe for whatever reason he wants to be able to claim that he's invented all the exercises that he's got his people doing. But I mean, in terms of actual training efficacy, that doesn't seem to be a good reason to have your clients doing random stuff that doesn't have a proven track record while sidestepping things that do have a proven track record. Now, again, if he were to incorporate that stuff and then say, yeah, well, I've done two hands anyhows, I've done bent press, I've done barbell zerchers, I've done Arthur lifts, I've done Steinbern squats, I've done deep knee bends with a barbell, I've done barbell hack squats, I've done Jefferson deadlifts, I've done one hand deadlifts. I've got my clients doing all that stuff, but over and beyond that, I still find a lot of benefit to doing a one-arm suitcase deadlift with a bottoms-up kettlebell, or all these other things that seem to be unique to him. Then I'd say, okay, well, hey, at least you can say you've tried the tried and true and felt that you need to innovate even beyond that, and that would make sense to me. But it just seems like a lot of perfectly good exercises that have a great track record have just been ignored, just kind of for the sake of novelty. I'm not in any way opposed to novelty, and I mean, I'm out there trying new stuff that in some cases I don't think has ever been tried before. Usually I'm getting it from somewhere else. I always try to cite my sources, let you know where I got stuff, but sometimes I'll just experiment with something. I'll have an idea. Sometimes it ends up being an idea somebody else already had, but I'm not at all opposed to that. But I mean, if you look at my training, I'm not just doing a random thing every day, certainly. Like, I find the things that work for me and I come back to them a lot. I do rotate through exercises quite a lot to avoid staleness and overuse of any particular area. But you'll see, like, I have staples that I get to on a regular rotation. Arthur lift and squat, Zercher squats, some form of pull. Right now I'm doing the one hand deadlift based workout But I have kind of a rotation of exercises that I'm trying to progress with and progressively overload. Even though I don't necessarily do them all every week, I'm still trying to use progressive overload, trying to actually, advance at particular lifts rather than just, throw constant chaos, you know, at my body with no repetition, no ever, coming back to something and improving later. And again, I mean, he might be using progressive overload. He might have people, adding 10 pounds to their, you know, bottoms up kettlebell and suitcase deadlift every week. I don't know what he's doing, and that could easily make or break the program. But I do feel like if there's such a thing as going too far with the novelty, he would seem to be it. Now, again, I think that's not the worst thing that you can do, and I would imagine that you'd still get better results with what he does than somebody who insists that you do squat, bench, and deadlift every single week, and then every third week you have to deload because you did too much squat, bench, and deadlift. But even on that week, you squat, bench, and deadlift just lighter. I mean, yeah, I'd definitely go with a guy who's going to at least have you do something new every week. But there is sort of a middle ground, and we kind of know where that middle ground is because it's been done before. We have, traditions that tell us, what works and what, not necessarily what doesn't, but we have, exercises that come to us with the backing of tradition. These were adopted by lifters in, what could be seen as a golden era of lifting. I know they call it the golden era Arnold era. I don't like that. I think the golden era was definitely at the turn of the century. But I mean, we know it was popular then, and we see the physiques of the guys around then, so we know that it worked very, very well, and their capabilities, obviously. So I don't see the need to constantly reinvent the wheel and fix what isn't broke if you haven't even really tried the solutions that have already been come up with. So that's my take on Seedman. It's probably more positive than a lot of what you've been seeing, but there's definitely some criticisms, and some of these, as I've admitted, may be misplaced if I'm misinterpreting something that he's doing, or I'm just kind of not understanding the big picture. But I hope that gives some people some perspective on this guy, and it was a nice little counterpoint to the people that are just saying that's new, that's bad, you're going to get hurt. All right, thanks for watching. Really long video, I know, but if you stuck through to the end, thank you very much for watching.